We're back for another Knowing You show. So stay tuned to listen to David Medansky. He is a diet contrarian. All right. So, David was born and raised in Chicago. He now lives in Phoenix. He helps with people who are 50 and above who want to release excess weight and get healthier, and it's from a drive because he went through a similar thing in his life and he wants to share what he's learned along the way. So, welcome, David, to the show.
Thank you, Tiffany. I appreciate being a guest and being here today.
Yeah, no problem. So, what brought you on this journey? Give us a little bit more insight into what had you start doing what you're doing now.
Sure. When I was in my 20s and 30s, I was fit and trim. And like most people, life gets in the way with work obligations and family responsibilities. And before I knew it, the weight crept up on me. And no matter what diet I had attempted, it failed. And if I did lose the weight, I gained it back. And sometimes I gained even more. And then in July of 2016, at age 61, my doctor told me, based on my lab results and that I was fat, I had a 95% chance for having a fatal heart attack. And he gave me two options. He says, you can lose weight or find a new doctor. And he strongly encouraged me to find a new doctor because he had been after me for 8 years to lose weight and I had done nothing. So, with that sword hanging over my head, the light bulb went off. During the next 4 months, I shed 50 pounds, 25% of my total body weight. More importantly, I've kept it off. And
Nice.
thank you. And in June of 2022, this year, at age 67, I hiked up Mount Kilimanjaro.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. So I wanted to share my experience with other people because I've been through their frustrations and I understand how difficult it is to first get started to lose weight, and then second, to do it, and third, to keep it off. And I've found out that there's a lot of myths out there about weight loss, and a lot of it is inaccurate. So I teach people how to lose weight without having to go on a diet, without having to count calories, exercise, or uh, buy any special meals or products or supplements.
So, part of that is walking the dog.
Yeah, we had 3 dogs, and unfortunately, Sammy started barking because my wife just arrived home. So she hears the garage door opening.
It's all good. It's all good. Most of us are animal lovers here. So, so what is the hardest thing about losing weight?
Well, the hardest thing is first getting started because we all procrastinate. We all will wait until Monday, after the holidays, after vacation. You know, that's what some of the excuses I used. And so um, once I got started and I started having some success, even if it was a small success, then I was more motivated to keep going. Unfortunately, what happens is during the New Year's, people make the resolution to lose weight and they go to the gym and exercise and they start eating healthier. And after 3 or 4 weeks, they get on the scale and they notice they haven't lost any weight. So they get frustrated. And what's happening is they're replacing the fat with muscle. I'm sorry about that. And 5 pounds of muscle weighs the same as 5 pounds of fat. The difference being that muscle is denser and takes up less room. So I usually ask people, well, how are your clothes feeling? And most of the time they'll say, well, my clothes are loose, and people are asking if I'm losing weight. The problem is the scale's not indicating it. So what I tell people is don't go by the scale. Go by how much, your clothes are feeling and how much energy you have. Because a lot of times they have better mental clarity, they have more energy, and the scale will lie. And so that's where one of the myths comes in about worrying too much about the number on the scale.
What do you think about the people who put the number that they want on the scale, like, and just focusing on, the end result that they do want, not the number that they're at right now.
Well, it's good to have a goal, but it's better to break it up into smaller portions. So, for instance, if you want to lose 35 or 40, or 50 pounds, like myself, I was first focusing on losing 5 or 10 pounds. And when I did that, then I'd focus on losing the next 5 or 10 pounds. And so you got a self of accomplishment. You're not overwhelmed. When you
Hmm.
set a big goal to lose, 50 pounds or more, that could be overwhelming. And then when you're only losing 2 or 3 pounds, you might say, oh my gosh, I'm nowhere close to my goal. And you get frustrated. Plus, today, the problem is a lot of the national brands will advertise lose 10, 15, 20, 30 pounds your first month guaranteed. Well, a lot of times you'll lose that weight. However, it's not sustainable, nor is it healthy. So that's why I advocate to lose the weight gradually. And what I tell people is if you want to lose weight, never go on a diet. Instead, change your diet. And the other thing I usually ask people is, would you like to weigh 24 to 48 pounds lighter by this time next year? And for most people who need to lose weight or want to, it's like, well, yeah, of course. Okay, can you lose 2, 3, 4 pounds per month? Not per week, per month. And for most people, that's doable. So if you do that consistently for 12 consecutive months on average, because some months you'll lose more weight, some you'll lose less, some you won't lose any at all. After 12 months, you'll be 24 to 48 pounds lighter. The
So it's
problem
the
today is
small wins that keep
exactly.
the motivation. And I think that's an important piece for people who want to release excess weight, because if they've got this big goal but the needle's not moving, or very little, or slowly, it can be, you know, frustrating and kind of take the wind out of someone's sails. So those smaller bite size goals sound really important.
It is, and you can even not even worry about the weight loss and the scale. Maybe focus on improving your eating habits. For example, if you're not drinking enough water, drink a little bit more pure water because in the US, 75% of the US adult population is chronically dehydrated. And our bodies are 60
Mm.
to 70% water, not soda or diet soda or fruit juices or fruit flavored beverages. So drink more pure water. And the other thing is, a lot of times when we think we're hungry, we're actually thirsty. And it was interesting because I was talking to my sister yesterday. We went for a hike, and she was saying that on all her little trips, she's always dehydrated. And I said, "You know better than that." She goes, "I know." And she goes, "It's even worse than that." I said, "What do you mean?" And she goes, "I know a lot of times when I'm hungry or thirsty, I eat instead of drink water."
Mm.
So, a lot of people are that way. They just don't realize how important water is. And you can just make one little change in your daily eating habits that can make a ripple effect throughout your whole lifestyle.
Mm. I like that lifestyle versus, oh, let me just try some fad diet and, do this for a few weeks and hope that you shave off 10 pounds,
Yeah. And you know what FAD stands for?
What?
Fat and desperate. And that's why I advocate lifestyle as opposed to a diet. And I also advocate going back to basics. When I lost my weight, I realized that I had to figure out a way to keep it off. And I started reading the books I had from the 1970s by Paul and Patricia Bragg, Jack LaLanne, Richard Simmons, William Duffy, who wrote,
Uh-huh.
Sugar Blues. And they were talking about basics, drinking water, eating, mostly vegetables and fruits and plants and organic and uh, physical activity. And then today's authors, I started reading their books, and they were advocating following their programs or buying their products. And it made it sound like if you didn't subscribe to their programs or buy their products, you're going to fail. And so
Mm.
I advocate back to basics because if you follow nature's laws, you'll be fine. If you disobey nature's laws, then there's consequences.
Yes. So talk to me about your 9 golden rules of releasing excess weight.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, 9 golden rules. When people hear them, they're like, "I know that, and I understand you know that." The thing is, are you doing it? If not, why not? But yeah, the first golden rule is to drink more water. The second one is to avoid highly processed and manufactured foods. The third one is to eat real whole foods. Number 4 is to eat slowly. Number 5 is to eat small portions. Number 6 is to get more sleep. Number 7 is to rest, to digest. It's an intermittent fast. And when people hear that, they get the wrong misconception of it. When I talk about intermittent fast, I'm talking about 12, 13 hours where you stop eating dinner about 3 hours before bedtime, and your first meal, which is breakfast, which stands for break the fast, is about 12 or 13 hours later. Um, and then number 8 is think positive, because
Mhm.
80% of our thoughts are negative. So just imagine if we change that to being positive. And number 9 is physical activity. And when I talk about physical activity, it's talking about walk more. Walking is one of the best exercises you can do. Rebel Wilson lost 77 pounds in a year simply by walking an hour a day. Now, I understand a lot of people don't have an hour each day to walk. However, Mindy Callis lost weight, and what she would do is when she had a 10 or 15-minute break, instead of texting friends or being on social media, she would walk 10 or 15 minutes. Well, if you do that 4 or 5 times a day, you get in 40 or 50 or 60 minutes of walking throughout the day. So it's just being physically active.
Mhm. So, do you think exercise is mandatory or optional for people who want to release the excess?
I in my opinion, it's optional. And the reason I say that is 90 to 95% of our weight issues are based on what we put into our mouth. Uh, 10 to 5, 5 to 10% of physical activity and exercise is for overall health and fitness, which is very important, and conditioning. Best example I give is people on The Biggest Loser. 66% of those participants gained all their weight back. Phys-
Really?
yes,
Wow.
and probably about 90% gained a lot of the weight back, maybe not all of it. The problem is not everybody has 2 or 3 hours to go to the gym, 3, 4, 5 times a day or more, a week or more, to exercise. So exercise is great, like I said, for overall fitness and health, but it's a myth for losing weight. And the example I gave earlier is where people are replacing the fat with muscle, and then the scale's not moving. So now they get frustrated, and then they quit because, oh, it's not working.
Mhm. Yeah.
The
I
other thing is, if you don't enjoy exercising, don't do it. A lot of people walking, I, most people enjoy walking. Even, it's a form of physical activity. Not everybody enjoys swimming. Not everybody enjoys, hiking or running or lifting weights. So you got to find an activity that you enjoy doing so that you'll do it. Otherwise, you won't.
Mhm. Yeah, I in order to get me walking and walking consistently, I ended up creating an accountability buddy where we're on the phone talking and walking. And that really helped me to make it fun because I don't want to do things that aren't fun, right?
Well, exactly. And that's what I advocate as far as healthy eating. If you don't like something, like I don't like kale, so I won't eat kale. Don't eat it. I like broccoli. Not everybody likes broccoli. If something is good and healthy for you, and you like it, eat it. If you don't like it, don't eat it because you won't. You'll stop after a while. So I
Mhm.
focus and tell people to focus on the things that are healthy that they enjoy. And
Nice.
and Hershey bars don't count, or M&Ms. That's not healthy for you.
All right. So, what are some of the other myths that you've seen that you want to bust?
Well,
Bust those
calories
myths.
in and calories out, exercise, or move more and, taking less calories. Again, not all calories are created equal. A Hershey bar, for example, is about 125 calories, has zero nutritional benefits, and takes your body 0 calories to digest and process. An apple, on the other hand, has about 90 to 100 calories. It's loaded with phytonutrients. It's got a lot of nutritional benefits, and it takes your body about 25 calories to digest and process. So it's a net of 75 calories. The other thing is orange juice is not healthy for you. The marketing people for the orange juice company have done a fantastic job of hoodwinking the public. It takes 4 to 8 medium oranges to make a glass of orange juice. So I usually ask people, Would you eat 4 to 8 oranges at one sitting? And most people would say, no, of course not. But that's how much sugar you're taking in without the fiber and without the other nutritional benefits that they've taken out of the oranges in the process of making orange juice. So what I tell people is
Just
if
by
you,
juicing it, it takes out the fiber? That's what
it
you're saying?
does, yeah.
Even if it's, like, fresh squeezed?
Even if it's fresh squeezed, even if it's pulp, every once in a while it's okay. But when you buy it in a carton, it's processed and it's not healthy for you and it's loaded with sugar. So I tell people just have an orange instead. You get all the
Mhm,
nutritional benefits, you get the vitamin C, and it's healthier for you. So that's one of the things that's a myth. The other thing is juicing is very healthy for some people, for others it's not. And the problem with juicing is if it takes the fiber out and you don't keep the fiber and use it for baking, you lose a lot of nutritional benefits. And Jack LaLanne, who I love dearly and is a role model for me, he was asked, about juicing and his juicers, and he said, yeah, he takes the pulp and he uses it for, using baked goods. And someone asked, well, do you tell people that? He goes, no, because if I did, people wouldn't buy the juicers because they don't want to take the extra time. So again, it's bottom line
mm,
comes into profit. Um, and again, juicing is good for some people, for others, it's not. And that's a myth. So I advocate eating the whole fruit or vegetable as opposed to juicing it.
mhm. I feel it spikes my sugar levels when I've just done, like, a juice cleanse, juice fast, juicing every day.
Well,
'Cause I tried that too.
yeah, and a lot of people, I love carrot juice. Fresh carrot juice is great, except it takes about what 6 to 8 carrots to make a glass of carrot juice. I'm not going to eat 6 to 8 carrots at one sitting. I may eat one, two at the most. It
Mhm,
fills you up. And again, the other problem is about 90% of the U.S. adult population do not get enough dietary fiber in their food each day. I mean, I was just blown away by that statistics of 90 to 95% of people do not get enough dietary fiber. And that's because we're getting a lot of our um, fuel for our bodies through drinking soda or diet soda or getting fruit juices or eating fast foods or convenience foods or processed foods and foods that don't have the fiber. So it's very important that you eat the raw, vegetables, the fruit, the whole fruit. Berries are great. Cherries are great. Um, so there's a lot of way you can increase your dietary fiber. The other thing is sprouted um, bread, like Ezekiel bread, has a lot of
mhm,
fiber and it's great. It's different than regular store bought processed bread because it's not a flour that they use. So a lot of people, and you find Ezekiel bread in the frozen food section
mhm.
so that it stays fresh. Because if you leave it out for a couple weeks, it'll grow mold and get stale. Because again, it's a live food, as opposed to if you bought store bought bread and left it out for 6 months, it looked just as fresh as the day you bought it with all the preservatives in it.
I like Ezekiel bread. I used to not, but I do, like, I've grown a fondness to it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of ways you can, have a sandwich with Ezekiel bread, get, fiber, and if you like bread, to switch over. Just and they have different flavors, so
Mhm,
it's not like you're limited to one.
mhm. Cool. Wonderful. So, what other what about people who think they need to, be vegetarian or meat eaters or have certain, foods that they eat or don't eat? Do you have any comments on that?
Yes, I do. We're all different. We're all unique. Not one size fits all. You're not going to go tell an Eskimo he needs to eat fresh fruits and vegetables because he doesn't have the environment to get it. In the meantime, if you don't like beef, don't eat beef. If you like beef, eat it, but limit the amount. If you like fish, eat fish. If you don't, you don't have to. Some people like eggs, some don't. Some like avocado, some don't. So again, focus on the food that you enjoy, that you like, that you know is healthy for you. For me, I love apples. I love avocado. I love fresh fruits and berries. And so I eat a lot of that. Raw nuts are great. Almonds, um, walnuts are very healthy. I throw chopped walnuts
Do
into
you
my
sprout
oatmeal.
them?
I don't personally. I just eat them. But seeds are good. Again, you got to be careful about the seeds because they're high in calories. When I eat my almonds, I'll count out 10, and that's about 100 calories. Some people will grab a handful and not realize how many almonds are in there, and then they'll have 2 or 3 handfuls because they're gulping it instead of focusing on eating them slowly. So I tell people count out 10 almonds or walnuts or cashews, whatever you like. Make sure it's raw and unsalted, and make a game of how slow you can eat them because we all tend to eat too fast and we're
Mhm.
distracted. And this way you're focusing on it. Because a lot of times, how many times we've been at our computers or at work or our desk and we look down and the sandwich is gone. Well, where did it go? Who ate it? Well, you did. Or you're maybe watching TV and you're snacking on the bag of potato chips or cookies or pretzels or whatever it may be, and next thing you know, it's gone. It's like, well, where did it go? And again, it's because we're not focusing on what we're eating.
Yes. I think that's important to just pause and register that you're even eating, because there can be a lot of multitasking busyness here in the US, where if we go to Italy, for example, I mean, they have a 3-hour lunch or dinner, you know?
Well, yeah,
And with multiple, you know, feasts. I
exactly. What's interesting is Mark David wrote a book called The Slow Down Diet, and in there he says if you take 5 minutes for breakfast, give yourself 10. If you, at a minimum, give yourself a half an hour for lunch and a half an hour for dinner. If you don't have an hour out of a 24-hour day to put fuel into your body, then there's bigger issues you need to work on. The other thing is, we're talking about Italy and Europe. Their dinner size plate is 9 inches in diameter. Ours used to be in the 1900s. In the US, it's now 12 inches. And at most restaurants, it's 13 to 15 inches. So our portions have been supersized without us realizing it. So I always tell people use a salad plate instead of a dinner size plate. And it's also an illusion. If you put the exact same amount of food on a salad plate as a dinner size plate, the food on the salad plate will look like there's a lot more, and the food on the dinner plate will look like there's a lot less. So we tend to eat more without realizing it.
Mhm. Thank you. I'm appreciating all these little nuances, and I also know that you have a gift for us. So can you tell us a bit more about your gift, the common sense secrets for healthy weight loss?
Sure, it's a book, it's a PDF, and they can download it for free. And I believe they can get it I am thinning backslash common sense. Um, and so it's a free gift, and it just talks about things that will help people improve their eating habits, give them more energy, have them feel better, and lose weight also.
Okay, so I just put that um in the chat so that we can populate it here on the screen. I am thinning.com/common hyphen sense common or hyphen secrets. And then you can, and it's also in the description for this live stream. And you can grab it and read the book, see what other little secrets and tips that might serve you well. And it sounds like it's small lifestyle changes. It's not
It's
the, do something hard and fast and then yo-yo back and forth. It's like the small, sustainable
yeah,
changes.
it's yeah, as I like to put it, and I paraphrase in Darren Hardy, is small incremental changes done over a long period of time will give you noticeable results. And the operative words in that is long period of time and done consistently. If you're not going to be consistent and you don't give it enough time, you won't see the results. And what happens is when you're doing those little changes, you may not see the results right away, but given enough time, you'll start seeing them eventually, and they will be noticeable.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for your contribution this week. Much love and blessings to everyone watching. See you again soon.
Thank
Bye
you,
for
Tiffany.
now.